of magnitude g and always pointing vertically downwards. Okay, so that's why this coordinate system is convenient. You are placing the origin from where you shoot the projectile, so the initial position vector is 0, and the acceleration vector is very easy to write down. The acceleration vector with this coordinate system is simply equal to minus GEY, minus because the y-axis is pointing upwards. So plus EY is pointing like that, the acceleration is pointing vertically downwards. Well, do not miss this minus sign, otherwise your projectile will for sure go off into deep space. Okay, so you have that the initial position vector is, with this choice of coordinate system, was the initial position vector 0, right? Technically speaking, of course, this is a 0 vector, but nobody is that careful. 0 is an exception. When we say that a vector equals 0, we mean the 0 vector, okay? But nobody puts the arrow, okay? So that's the only case where you miss the arrow and nobody penalizes you, okay? Otherwise, don't do it. Okay, anyway. So, so you could choose some other coordinate system. So for example, you could have chosen a tilted coordinate system. Okay? Except of course that this is not as useful, because in this tilted coordinate system the acceleration vector to begin with has both components non-zero in the tilted coordinate system, because you see the acceleration vector pointing downwards, you'll have to go this way and then that way, and then you'll get a downwards vector. Okay, so this mathematical description of the same vector would be more complicated with this tilted coordinate system. Also the description of the ground would be more complicated. With the usual green axis, the ground is simply y is equal to 0. But for the tilted axis, of course, the ground is a straight line that is passing through the origin with some non-zero slope. Okay, so it would be of the form y prime is equal to tangent of phi, where this angle is phi, times x prime. The gradient can be written as tangent of the angle that the line makes with the positive x-axis, in this case positive x prime axis. Okay, anyway, so I'll stick to the green axis, and basically you then write down u. So you're basically just writing down the vectors that are given to you in terms of the coordinate system that you have set up. That's all you are doing. And then once you have written these down, ask yourself always, am I dealing with constant acceleration? Answer that very, very carefully, because the magnitude of the acceleration may be constant, but the direction may always keep on changing. Then that means that the acceleration vector is not constant. Okay. For a vector to be a constant vector, its magnitude should be the same throughout, its direction should be the same throughout. This is a constant vector. Okay, so if you have a constant vector, then that's a particularly simple case of finding out the velocity vector and the position vector given the acceleration vector. So you have, for example, v is equal to u plus at. You also have r. If you integrate this, where does this come from? You integrate the acceleration vector. And of course, the integration of the acceleration vector, because the acceleration vector is constant, that's a very straightforward problem. The acceleration vector pops outside the integral, and that's what you're left with. So this is equal to the initial position vector plus ut plus half at square. Again, make sure that you know how to derive this if need be. Okay. For the coordinate system that you have set up, it's not just a matter of plugging these vectors that you know over there and then figuring out what in the world does this mean. What does this tell you? Okay, how can you extract physical information from this? So this becomes 0. There you go. This you know, you've already written that down, plug this in over here. This you know, plug this in over here, and then simplify. Essentially group together the times the x component, group together the y component. As group together times that contain ex, group together times that contain ey. And once you have that, if I ask you what's the time taken for the projectile to hit the ground, set the y component to be 0, because the ground corresponds to the position vector having y component 0. You have the time, you can plug that time into the x component, and you will have the horizontal distance that the projectile covers. Okay. There are many variations of this problem. So for example, let's change it. Let's go to a hill. So you are standing on the surface of a hill and then now you are shooting a projectile. Okay, so the hill makes an angle phi with the horizontal. This phi of course depends on how steep the hill is. If phi is 0, you are back to flat ground. If phi is 90 degrees, well, you then have a very steep cliff. Okay, normally of course, phi is not that big an angle, especially if there's a road or a rail track constructed. It's difficult to construct a road if your phi is bigger than 10 degrees. It's very difficult to construct very steep roads. Anyway, so you have this phi and then you're shooting this projectile, say like that. Again, you're shooting the projectile, the initial velocity vector makes some angle with the horizontal. The magnitude of this vector, of course, is simply u without the arrow. So to specify the direction we shoot at it, I say that the angle that this velocity vector makes with the horizontal is theta. This angle, of course, is phi because you don't even need to know that they are alternate angles, okay, but at least know this much geometry, that there is something called vertically opposite angles. There is something called that this angle should be the same as that angle, and there's also have of course the alternate angles, that if you have this, then this should be equal to. If you memorize that this should be equal to that, given that these two are parallel lines and there's a line that is cutting them, then you immediately have, given that you have vertically opposite angles, you immediately have this should be equal to that. Okay, so the only thing that you need to memorize is this angle, and you don't even need to memorize for this case, at least only this case. I won't be presenting you with the proof of this, of course, but only for this case, just rely on it looks to be the same, okay, but only for this case, okay. Yeah. Or at least once in your life, look up the proof of this so that you're convinced that this is true, okay. Anyway, so that means that this angle should be equal to that, just like this angle was equal to this angle, okay. And then I have to set up my coordinate system. So in this case, of course, you can always do the problem with the usual coordinate system, your usual horizontal and vertical axis. Again, it's convenient to set up the origin over here, of course. You set up the origin over here. Why? Because if you set up the origin over here, the initial position vector of your projectile is 0. Okay? But if you now choose the usual horizontal vertical axis, the mathematical description of the surface of this hill is much more complicated. It's still a straight line. I'm approximating, of course, I'm neglecting any bumps in this hill and so on. But it's a non-trivial straight line. It's not the x-axis, it's not the y-axis anymore. It's a straight line with negative slope that is passing through the origin, if I set up the usual coordinate axis. So maybe it's easier if I tilt my coordinate axis, so that my x-axis now lies along the surface of the hill. If I choose my axis like this, let me choose some other color, this will do. So if I choose my axis like this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. If you tilt it, you can just call it x and y. You put x prime, y prime when you have more than one coordinate system here. As in, I'm just saying that whenever you tilt your coordinate axis, don't start calling it x prime, y prime, okay? You have only one coordinate system over here, just call them x and y, okay? Okay, so you have this, right? Now in this coordinate system, the surface of the hill has a very simple mathematical description. What's that? Mathematically, what's that? What's the mathematical equation that describes the surface of the hill? Y equals 0. The x-axis has equation y is equal to 0 because every point on the x-axis has y coordinate equal to 0. Okay, right? So there's a penalty that you pay, however, okay, for the simpler mathematical description of the surface of the hill. The penalty that you pay is that the mathematical description of the acceleration vector now is more complicated. Remember, the projectile will go something like that. At every point along its trajectory, the acceleration vector is always pointing vertically downwards. It is always a vector of size g, small g. So you need to be able to write down this acceleration vector in terms of your Ex and Ey, your unit vectors along the x-axis and the y-axis. So let's do that. So you have, let's say that this is your acceleration vector. I could place this anywhere, but just for clarity, I place it over here. Okay. So you have that this arrow is of size g. What's this? The first question is, what is this angle? Whenever you want to find out the components of a vector, try to find out the angle that the vector makes with one of the two axes. Either one will do, of course. If you know one of these angles, you know the other angle, right? So what's this angle? Of course, you'll say immediately, looks like phi, maybe. But you don't need to go to that. Just consider this right angle triangle that I formed over here. What's this angle? 90 minus phi, because the sum of angles in this right angle triangle should be 180 degrees. That's one other geometrical fact that should be clear to you. Okay, this is simple 2D geometry, more than 2000 years old. Okay, so that much you should know. And since this angle is also 90 degrees, the angle that the x-axis makes with the y-axis is 90 degrees. So this angle is also 90 degrees. So if this is 90 degrees, this angle will be 90 degrees minus 90 minus phi, and that will just give you phi. So this vector, this vertically downward vector, is making an angle of phi with your y-axis, and therefore the component along the y-axis will be of length g cos phi. You see, now the y component is g cos phi. Okay, so always be careful. Okay, don't memorize x component goes with the cosine and y component goes with the sine. Not always true. It depends on which angle you're talking about. So you can think about it this way, that this blue arrow is the sum of these two arrows. There's a pink arrow that points in the negative y direction, and there's another pink arrow that points in the plus x direction, that points along ex. This arrow is parallel to this arrow. I mean, how do you find this arrow? Of course, you drop a perpendicular from this blue arrow to the y-axis. So what's the length of this pink arrow? G cos phi. What's the length of this pink arrow? G sin phi. So now, can you write down the acceleration vector? G sin phi. Where's the unit vector? Ex. I mean, though if you forget the unit vector, you'll just be subtracting two numbers, okay? Right? And then minus g cos phi Ey. That's the mathematician way of doing it. I mean, of course, me being lazy as I am, that's never how I'll do it, okay? I'll just say, well, if when phi is 0, acceleration is minus g Ey, right? It's just pointing out. So whatever result that I'll get for non-zero phi should go back to the result minus g Ey when phi is 0. And when I rotate my axis, I pick up these factors of sine and cosine with the x component and the y component, right? So when I rotate my axis, my y component will of course still be with a negative sign, and the x component will be, if I choose my axis like that, it will be with the positive sign because it's going to point down the slope, and the x component should contain a sine or a cosine physically. Sine, right? When the phi is 0, the x component should be 0, because the acceleration vector when phi is equal to 0, your tilted coordinate system is back to the original coordinate system. So the x component should come along with the sine, the y component should come along with the cosine, and the y component points in the negative direction. So that's what you should have. That's the only way you're going to get it. You know, when you rotate your axis, the components of these vectors pick up the sine and cosine, as you saw in one of last week's recitations. Okay, so that you don't even need to go draw these triangles and all that. That's the only answer you could have. Anyway, so once you have this acceleration vector, you plug it in. Once again, the important thing to note is this is a constant vector. Of course, because the arrow itself never changed. It's just its mathematical description changed because you tilted your coordinate axis. It's the same thing that, you are not going to change if I tilt my head, okay? Hopefully. But what I see will change. In the same way, the mathematical description of the arrow changes, but the arrow itself, of course, never changed. Okay, still exactly the same arrow, pointing vertically downward of the same size. Okay, so of course, you still have exactly the same constant acceleration. The acceleration vector is still constant. So you can apply this, except that now you have, of course, this A is that A. Okay, so whenever you're applying this, one very common mistake is take one vector from one coordinate system, take another vector from other coordinate system. Write down F. Once you have chosen your coordinate system, stick to the same coordinate system. Don't do it halfway through. All these vectors should be in the same coordinate system. Okay, so this u must be written in terms of this tilted coordinate system. So what will you write then for u? U times cos of theta plus phi ex plus u times sine of theta plus phi ey. And then of course this is in the same coordinate system, but this is still the zero vector. So you plug these two vectors in and you have your position vector of the projectile at any time. When does this projectile hit the surface of the hill? How will you find that out? Whatever position vector you find out, by plugging these in, set the y component of that to be equal to 0. Solve for time. Again, it's the basic ideas that you have to pick up, how to solve questions rather than the actual detailed answers. Abhi kuch nahi karna. Okay, right? So make sure you can do this, right? Okay, and my job now over here is done.